This video is subject to the disclaimers as posted on our website at www.systematic-investors.com. Okay, so I'm going to back up a little bit and assume that you don't even have the software installed on your computer. So the first thing I do is I'm going to go to AleraTrading.com, and if you do not have a paid version of Alera, that's fine. You can actually download a paper trading copy of Alera Portfolio Manager, and you can test out our free strategies for free. So you can get a free paper trading version of Alera Portfolio Manager, and you can get access to our free strategy scans and run them both in paper mode in order to get acquainted with the technology, and also in order to just sort of validate how the signals work, how everything works before switching to any type of live account. So we make that facility available. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go to products, and I'm going to go register and download. Now I already have I've already gone through the process of registering at the forum with Alera Trading, so you'll need to just follow that step. It should be pretty self-explanatory, and you can see the newest version here on their website as of the date of this recording is version 2.1.5. That will obviously change. This technology is under massive development and is improving day by day. So the last couple of recent versions are from version 2.1.2. This Google Drive support was added. That's what allows us to provide that facility where our members can access signals directly from our website and from the strategies that we develop and we post every day and make them available to our members. So I'm going to download the most recent version that's available today. I'll just click on Save File. It'll just take a minute to download that. I believe it's already done, so let me just open the file. Okay. And this is my Windows protection. I don't want to select Don't Run. I'm just going to click on More Info, Run anyways, because I do trust it. And let's see, I just had to click it on my taskbar here because it was not showing. So I'm going to click Next. I'm just going to say everyone can run it. Next, next. And it should just take a minute here to install the software. So this is my user account control. Yes, I'm going to tell it can run. And that's it. Close. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to download from Interactive Brokers the IB Gateway. This is assuming you probably have an account set up. So you can just come to interactivebrokers.com, click on Login, click on API IB Gateway. Now what I'm going to do is, because sometimes the older versions have some issues, some bugs we have no control over their development cycle. So we're gonna download the IB Gateway latest software. So I'm just going to click on this. I'm going to save the file, and depending on how fast your internet connection is, you can see it's still downloading. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, now that it's done downloading, I'm going to just run through the installation of the software. Okay, click Next. And we'll just keep the recording running while it's going through this process. Okay, I just paused for a second and now I'm just resuming again because it was taking quite a while. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now it's installed it on my computer. So what I'm going to do is just click Run IB Gateway version 978 in this instance and click Finish. So what that's going to do now, it brings up interactive brokers. Now I do have a paper trading account, and I'm just going to pause the video while I look up my credentials and log in. So what you want to do, we suggest you start out with a paper trading account for every strategy, just to make sure that it runs properly. So what I do is I have a production account for both IB Gateway and Alera Portfolio Manager, and I have a paper trading account for both. You can run them both independently of each other by opening multiple instances, and that's the way to do it. So we're going to use IB API. We're going to click on paper trading so you can see it's in simulated mode now. And let me just pause the video while I put my credentials in. If you don't have credentials, you'll either have to request them from interactive brokers, or you'll have to open an account and access your paper trading account. Okay, I've just put in my credentials. My firewall is trying to block some of my features, so I'm just going to tell it to allow access, so that it does not, my Windows Defender does not block it. So now you can see I've got IB Gateway here. So IB Gateway is just going to run all the time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look for Alera. So here's my Alera dashboard. I'm going to open up that program as well. And what I'm going to do here, because I have some other accounts that were set up before, what I'm going to do is assume that this is the first time you're opening Alera Portfolio Manager. So for example, I had an older version of Alera Portfolio Manager. It will maintain all of my desktops when I upgrade. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to assume that you've never installed Alera Portfolio Manager. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select a new one so that this is a new account. I'm going to call this, let's see, what should we call this? Let's call this, let's call it, I'm going to call it Systematic Investors Group, so just SIG. I'm going to set my log level to low. Here's my license token. So here's our default brokers, interactive brokers. Here are some of our network settings. We can just leave them set to this. We can leave this set to this. Now what we need to do is just put in our IB account ID. I'm just going to shift this over while I do that. So that's in this case it's the paper trading account. If you actually have a license, then you're going to have to put in that your true IB account if you've purchased a license. So now I'm just going to click on Save and click on Strategies, and let me just bring that back over. So what that looks like here is, I guess it doesn't really matter. So what I did is I just put in my IB account number. That's my paper trading account number. I can set up my email here. If I want to set up my email, the instructions are available on Alera's website on how to do that, so that the software sends you an email every day after it runs strategies and at the end of the day, so it keeps you in the loop and you can see what's happening with each one of your strategies. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on my strategies. Actually, let me click on Start first so that it connects to IB Gateway. So when you click on Start, it's going to connect Alera Portfolio Manager to your IB Gateway. Let me just do that now and see if I get any errors, if I have to configure anything with IB Gateway. Okay, so it says it's running. So just out of the box, it connected to it connected to IB Gateway. You can see here it says API client 1 connected. That's Alera Portfolio Manager. Sometimes what you do need to do though is you need to go into the settings, you need to go into API, and some of these settings need to be adjusted sometime. What I'll do is I'll post another video that goes specifically through these settings or through the screenshots just to make sure that we have everything set up properly. But that's how you would do that if you were having any kind of connection issues. So I'm just going to minimize this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how easy it is to connect some of our free strategies. So let me just go to strategies. Now what I'm going to do, we don't have any strategies in here. You can see that this is telling us that we have a paper trading account selected, and let me see here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up a new strategy. I'm just going to call it GD for Google Drive, and I'm going to call it RSI2. I am going to tell it I want to trade US stocks. Alera Portfolio Manager also allows Australia and Indian markets. So let me just do this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a Google Drive file, and what I need to do is I need the actual Google Drive ID. Now you should have probably found the instructions of this directly on the strategy that you were interested in trading. So what I'm going to do is go to my free strategy scans. Now with the RSI2 strategy here, you'll notice there are no buy scans, and the reason why is just because we're in a bit of a bear market right now with this recent coronavirus pullback, and this strategy is actually keeping us out of the market. But you can see it's still telling us to sell certain things if they are in our portfolio. So if you look at the instructions here, you see the G Drive folder ID. The G Drive folder ID is what you're going to want to grab. So we're just going to copy this folder ID here. Now we're assuming that we've already been permissioned. We've already got the email back from Systematic Investors Group saying, hey, your strategy is now permissioned and you have access, and you're good to go. So let's assume that that's taken place now, and we're just going to paste the strategy here. And then what we're going to do is this strategy specifically uses, let me just see here, let me open up another tab and go back to Systematic Investors Group. All of the data for these strategies are actually contained in the strategy information. So for example, when you're looking at this strategy, you can see if you click on View Backtest, you can see how this strategy was designed. So for example, here are our backtest assumptions. We're going to be trading the NASDAQ 100. It's a portfolio strategy. So our maximum number of positions that we want is 15 positions and 6.6% per position equal weighted. So what I'm going to do is, this is a limit order strategy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the maximum number of positions, I'm going to give it 17 positions. If this wasn't a limit order strategy, I would just go with the exact number, but I give it a few more positions there just because not every strategy is going to get filled, right? So now I'm going to tell it I want a CSV file. The maximum file age is 1. I don't want it to pick up any old files, so that's basically what I want. And for the time being, if I wanted to run this in semi-automation mode, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this in full automation mode rather. I'm going to change this to trade at let's say 9:15 every morning. So you can see here it's going to trade. If I click on the tooltips here, if I just place my my mouse cursor here, 9:15 a.m. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, well, now this is the interesting part. So what you can do is you can say, you know what, I've got 100% of my account. I don't want to trade 100% of my account. I want to be a diversified, systematic trader. I want to diversify my opportunities. I want to diversify my my risks across multiple strategies that are going to take advantage of different time frames, different trading opportunities, different trading approaches. So let's say I only want to trade, let's say my goal is to trade 5 strategies eventually. So I might say, well, I'm going to trade 20% of this particular strategy out of 100% of my account that's available. Now my custom lot size was that this 6.67% of my account. So if I've got, let's say if my target is 15 positions, and I've given it 2 more, but my target is 15 positions, so my custom lot size is going to be 6.67% per position. Now if this was, let's say I wanted 10 positions in my portfolio, then my custom lot size would be 10%. So what that would do is it would say each position, because I've got 10, I want to trade 10% of that allocation per position, if that makes sense. So for example, if I was trading 100%, then I had 10 positions, this would actually trade 10% per position of my total account. But because I'm telling it I want 20% of that 20% of my strategy allocation in my total account, I want to trade 10% per position. So that's what that's saying. So now I know I'm just going to follow what the backtest assumptions are, because this has been optimized for the strategy. So I'm going to say, so I want 17, I've just added 2, and I want 6.67. So my target positions are 15. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave all the other settings the same. If I want the strategy to email me, I would select this button here. I don't have my email settings set up. You can look for those instructions in another video. So now what I want to do is I don't want to run any position management here. And the reason why I don't is because my strategy and all the strategies from Systematic Investors Group are set up to manage all the stops targets on an end of day basis, and that's basically what we want. So the minimum stock price I'm going to set to 1. My maximum stock price, if let's say you don't like trading stocks that are expensive, like for example I think Tesla is, I don't know what Tesla's trading today, but maybe it's over $1,000. You might want to limit the upper limit for the maximum stock price you'll trade. The minimum order value, I just usually set it to $25 arbitrarily. You might want to set upper limits for your maximum order value, but in this instance, this is going to be managed by the strategy, so I'm not too worried about it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this strategy, and you'll see what happens here. Once I save the strategy, what it's going to do is it's going to authenticate my email address. So that's the email address that you had selected in the form in the previous step to gain access to it. That's the Gmail address that you've selected. In this case, I've used my personal email address. I'm going to click on Advanced, and I'm going to allow Alera Portfolio Manager access to my to that Gmail account. So I'm just going to click that. It's going to ask me if I want to grant access. I'm going to say allow, and then I'm going to confirm it. And now what it's done, it's authenticated my Gmail account with my Alera Portfolio Manager, which is great. So now I have access to this account. So that's in a nutshell. Now I can actually start trading this account live. That's how easy it is. And what it'll do is it'll allow me to trade either in semi-automatic or fully automatic mode. Now if I want to run in semi-automatic mode, then basically what I do is I just don't check this this little button here for enable scheduler. And what it allows me to do is it will allow me to actually preview my signals every day. So for example, if I want to run the full strategy, I would just click the play button. But what I would do is before 9:30 every morning, I would just come in here, I would check this strategy, I would click on order preview, and what that would do is it would pull up the most recent file that we posted at Systematic Investors Group for this strategy, and it would show you all the buy and sell signals that are in the file, and it would match them up to what you already have in your portfolio. In this case, we're not going to have any strategies signals, so it's going to tell us we have we have no orders. But what you would normally see in here is when the strategies are active because the market conditions are right, we're trading above whatever regime filters we've set in our strategy, you're going to see a list of symbols here, and it's going to tell you what the position size is, etc. You can pick and choose which ones you want to trade, or what you could do is just say, yeah, I want to run this entire strategy today, and you just click on at the appropriate time to trade the run strategy now. Now what I typically do is, because I trust the strategies that I'm working with, and in paper trading mode, I'm not too concerned, but in live mode, I usually trust my strategies. I use this technology in order to automate my stuff, simply because that's why I use this technology, because I want to save time. I want it to be consistent, trade my stuff every single day without fail, because consistency is what wins the game, in my opinion. So what I do is I just click this button here at 9:15 every morning. It will automatically run all of the signals in that strategy. I can click save. This blue bar here tells you you're connected to IB Gateway here. And then what you can do is, I think I have this in on another computer running. So let me just look at and see if I have anything in my portfolio. No, I guess I don't. But what it would do is it would show you whatever you have in your portfolio here. It would show you what active trades you had. Your strategy log will actually show you what you've traded on any given day, and it'll give you reasons why trades were taken or not taken. Okay, and more information will be available in other trainings on that. But this is essentially how you set up a strategy from scratch. You install Alera Portfolio Manager, you install IB Gateway, you connect it to your account here using these. These settings are usually okay. Put in your paper trading credentials. Here you can stop. You can see I'm not connected to Interactive Brokers here. You see the red bar here. Now I'm just going to start. That'll connect to IB Gateway and by default to Interactive Brokers, because that is the connection to Interactive Brokers. Click on your strategies. I just showed you how to set up this strategy so that it pulls signals directly from our strategy site, Systematic Investors Group, once you're permissioned. Let me just click on this folder button here. What this folder button will tell you is that you have the correct folder set up here, because you can see it, Systematic Investors Group, Free Signals, RSI2 pullback. That gives you an indication of which strategy it's actually pulling. And you can see here, here's all my sell signals. It'll show you those every day. If there were any buy signals, it would show you that here in the buy.sig file. And that's essentially what you do. So let's just run through that again quickly, and we'll run the other free strategy, because what I'm recommending is, if you want to try out this technology, just set up a free account. Like, sign up for a free account on Systematic Investors Group, and download a free version of Alera Portfolio Manager, link the two together, and when the markets are active, you can see this trading every day in a paper trading account. So let's just do that. Let's set up, we want to set up this other strategy now. So let's go to our free strategy scans, and let's see what other strategy we have, which is our supercharged momentum trend. I really like this strategy because it will maintain a portfolio of essentially 20 positions. But let me just go back here and let's look at the back test. So the back test is what tells you the strategy assumptions, and you can see here in the back test assumptions, don't worry about the dollar amount. This dollar amount, you're going to use whatever dollar amount you want to allocate. But what it tells you is it's a portfolio strategy. It is trading the S&P 1500. So we've got about 1500 stocks in our universe that it goes through every day. Now our target number of positions in the portfolio is 20, and so we're going to use an equal weighted 5% position size. So that's the information I need to set up my strategy. So I'm just going to go over here back into Alera Portfolio Manager, and I'm going to set up, I'm just going to use GD for Google Drive, and I'm going to call it what is it called again? Supercharged momentum trend. So now I'm just going to go call it supercharged momentum. Let's just call it STC for short. Supercharged momentum. sorry, supercharged momentum trend. We'll just call it that. And so we're going to trade the US market, which is what it is trading. Again, we're going to use a Google Drive file. If we were using, like I run some local strategies for Miami broker, you can use different settings here. Alera Portfolio Manager will allow you to pull signals from almost any source. If you're using Python locally, or if you're using AMI broker like I do for my local strategies. But in this case, these are our online access. So we're going to do that as well. We're going to use Google Drive file. We want to use a CSV. We want to make sure the files that are being pulled are not old files, so we're going to use 1 day. Now let me just change this, as we said, 20. So we've got 20 positions. We're going to allocate only 20% of our total account, and we're going to use 5% per position size. Okay, and we'll just change these as well. Minimum stock price is $1, maximum is 1,000. $25 for our minimum order value. We're not going to change any of the other settings. Actually, my mistake. There's one other setting you want to change. Your default time in force should probably be set to day. That way it cancels all the orders that don't get filled every day, which is what most strategies use. And again, let me go to our supercharged momentum trend strategy. Our signals. So here's the folder ID for the supercharged momentum trend. Let me just copy that. And again, this is assuming that you've gone through step 2 and you filled out and submitted the form, and we've gotten back to you and said, yes, you've got access to this folder now. So what I'm going to do is let me just paste it here. So now that's this folder for the supercharged momentum trend. Before I forget, let me just change this also to day. Let me save that. Let me go back here and let me save this strategy. So now it's going to authenticate again. Here's my Gmail account that I've been given access to, my private account. Now I'm just going to enable it again. I'm going to allow the permissions. I'm going to grant Alera Portfolio Manager access to that account, that Gmail account. Allow, it's now authenticated it. I can close this window and I can go back here, and what you can see here is it's all been saved. I'm going to run this in automatic mode as well. I'm going to run this strategy. This strategy specifically uses the open auction process in the S&P 1500. So I'm going to set it a little bit earlier. I'm going to set it to that is 9:10 a.m. Eastern time. So if I come over here, I can see it's 9:10 a.m. If I just look at the tooltip, it's going to run it, every day at that time. I've set this to totally to automatic mode, so it's just going to pull the signals every single day. Let me save this, and you can see now it's ready to go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm basically set up. I've got my RSI2 strategy set up. I've got my supercharged momentum trend strategy set up. I've allocated them 20% each and the proper position size. In this case, each position is going to be $10,000 because I've got lots of money in my paper trading account. And now I'm good to go. So let's just confirm, because this is a very cryptic code for the actual strategy, so we know where it's pulling. Let me just click on this folder here, and it'll tell us that it's pulling the strategy from Systematic Investors Group, Free Signals, Supercharged Momentum Trend. That's the folder that it's pulling the strategies from every single day. And you can see here, you can see here are some of the sell signals here. There's no buy signals, again, because we are basically in bear mode, and these strategies are designed to keep us out of the market when we're not performing as expected. I assume these are going to kick in soon and we're going to start getting signals. So I suggest you get these set up and you just let them run so that you can see that happening. So that's it. That covers basically from soup to nuts how you set up Alera Portfolio Manager, IB Gateway, set up our free strategies so that you can paper trade them in your own account. Now what I would do is I'm just gonna I can just leave this running and I can just see what effect it's having on the trades in the portfolio every single day. Most likely on Mondays, because over the weekend Interactive Brokers will reset IB Gateway. So what you need to do is just every Monday morning before the market opens, fully close IB Gateway, right? You don't want to just run it again. You want to fully close it. You're going to shut it down. You're going to be disconnected. And then you either on your desktop you can find the icon, or here I'm just going to go IB Gateway. Restart IB Gateway, and just log in again every morning, every Monday morning. So what I'll do, I'll just do that off screen here. So let me put in my credentials and my password, which for a paper account is your actual account number for your paper trading account. Okay, you just click I understand and accept this as a paper trading account. And then what you want to do is you want to just make sure, click account, and let me just click stop and start again so that you're connected to IB Gateway. This will turn blue. This will let you know that you are now connected, and now I can just leave this running. So whether I want to run this on a local instance or I want to run it, let's say, on a small Amazon EC2 instance that costs about $15 to $20 a month, depending on how much bandwidth you use. You can run it in the cloud so that if you're traveling, you're on vacation, you can access it anywhere. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with us through, if you have any questions about this specifically, you can contact us on our website through Contact SIG. You can request access to our strategies specifically through this contact form. You can see the strategy we have available. These are the 2 free strategies. This is a mountain trading strategy here. And if you want access to any of the other strategies that we're going to be adding, the pro level strategies, by the time you see this, you'll probably see this list has gotten a lot bigger. You can select access here. Okay, so good luck. I hope it helps. And I'll look forward to receiving your feedback and hearing from you if you have any questions. Thanks.